Hello friends, I'm Bonnie Harris Hayden. I'm an estate attorney and I do what's called charitable estate planning for the American Heart Association. I've been an estate attorney in California for about 14 years now, and I've been doing what's called charitable estate planning or plan giving for about 10 years. And my mother, Judy Harris, is here today to help me talk to you about charitable estate planning. I realized that this sort of information seems to be easier to explain and present when I have someone to talk to, when I have a live audience. You are my audience, but now I need a live audience of one during these times to ask questions that maybe you would ask if we were actually able to be face-to-face right now. So my mom is Judy Harris, and she is a little bit of a celebrity here in our town of Culver City. She is Ms. Culver City Elegance 2019, and yes, and she's also a singer, and she is a retired court reporter. And so she goes to senior centers and is in women's groups and avails herself of the benefits of living in a wonderful community like a lot of you do. And I, as part of my job, get to talk to people in senior centers and women's groups and different places throughout the community about the benefits of doing some charitable estate planning. I also help with our staff and our board. I educate them on plan giving, and I do whatever I can to help us at the American Heart Association help you make a philanthropic impact for your life, your community, and your heirs. And so my mom's going to be here kind of in your spot asking some questions to forward our conversation about charitable estate planning. So Mom, you have a question?
Well, yes I do. As a matter of fact, I've heard about the American Heart Association and all the wonderful things that it does. I know for me personally, and I have made contributions as well. But what I really want to find out about is about planned giving and charitable estate planning. So if you could enlighten me and our audience out there on what that is, I think I would learn a few things and it would be very interesting.
Sure. So what I like to say is charitable estate planning or plan giving, they are interchangeable terms, and it's a win-win. These are types of gifts that take a little more planning. So a planned gift takes a little more planning than writing a check. And because you're doing that additional planning, usually through some kind of gift through your estate, but there's all different types of planned gifts. Because you're doing that extra planning, you can actually, you can make more of an impact than you might have thought you could otherwise. You can get help with your taxes. You can accomplish all different kinds of goals that maybe you wouldn't have if you wrote a check. You can deal with gifts of equity, stocks, retirement accounts. You can deal with personal property, cash, and even real estate. You can structure planned gifts with all these different kinds of things. And so even though it does take a little extra planning, it might be able to help you with some assets and situations and taxes that you would have to deal with.
Well, that's a very good beginning, introduction to what I was thinking about. So what are the benefits of charitable gift planning?
Yes, so the benefits of charitable estate planning, charitable gift planning, plan giving, all the same, are you can achieve your goals. So if your goals are to make a wonderful gift to your favorite charity, if your goal is to reduce your income taxes by getting a charitable tax deduction, if your goal is to reduce capital gains taxes because maybe you have an asset that you've had for a long time, like stock or real estate, and if you sell it, you're going to get that capital gains tax, you can actually eliminate that capital gains tax or get rid of the vast majority of it through a gift to charity, believe it or not.
That's great.
Yeah, and you can also preserve your assets for your heirs. So some of these gifts, even though you're going to give to charity, can actually help you give more to your kids too, depending on the type of gift and how it's structured. So that's a really lovely thing. And then you can also, even with some plan gifts, you can increase your income too.
Now that's exciting. I would love to increase my income.
Okay, great.
Well, so speaking of income, how can a planned gift increase my income?
Okay, well, that's a great question. One of the planned gifts that could actually create a stream of income for you is called a charitable gift annuity.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So a charitable gift annuity is a contract between you and your favorite charity. So it could be American Heart Association or any other charity that you really love. You make a contract, and the way that it works is you would give a gift of, let's say, $10,000 to fund that charitable gift annuity. And in return for that $10,000, you get payments back for the rest of your life. And then after you die, whatever's left of that $10,000 comes to the charity. And so there's, I'm sure, a lot of questions about kind of, well, how do you know how much the payments are going to be and things like that. So how it works is that the rate of payment that you get back is based on your age.
Okay.
So right now, if you set up a charitable gift annuity for $10,000 and you were 90 years old and you're nowhere
Far
near,
from
you're
there.
a spring chicken, if you were 90 years old, you would get a payment rate of 9.0%. So that means you would get $900 a year for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's found money.
Well, well, it's kind of not, because you paid the $10,000 to begin with, but it does feel good that you would be getting those payments back. And you also get, when you set up the charitable gift annuity, you get an immediate charitable tax deduction right away.
Oh, that's great.
You get immediate charitable tax deduction, and then some of the portion of your payments that you get are also tax-free as well. So that's really nice. And the payment amount, the rate, that 9.0% for a 90-year-old person, never changes. And so in times like this where the market is very volatile, you don't have to worry about what happens with the stock market or interest rates or anything like that. Your payment amount is always going to be the same. And you can get your payments monthly, quarterly, annually. You could decide how you want to do it. And so anyone that's younger than 90 is going to get a payout rate that's less than 9%. Which is still actually going to be quite a lot more than you would get if you did a CD, for example. And even if you live to be 125 years old, you'll still get your same payments for the rest of your life. So even if that $10,000 got exhausted in your payments and you kept living, you would still get that money. Wow. So yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so you don't get payments until the initial amount runs out. You get payments for the rest of your life. So that's pretty nice.
So do I need a lawyer to start doing this?
Well, one of the nice things is that no, you do not need a lawyer. You don't need a lawyer to make a charitable gift annuity. It is a contract between you and the charity, and charities are licensed to do this by the Insurance Commission at each state. So we need to be licensed in every single state that we offer gift annuities through the Insurance Commission. And so it's highly regulated, it's very stable. We've been doing these for many, many decades. And so, no, you don't need a lawyer for this type of planned gift, which is really nice. The way that the rates are set, the payout rates are set, or the charity doesn't set them. The American Council on Gift Annuities is an organization, and they set the rates that virtually every charity follows these industry standards for the rates, and so they set them. So part of why I wanted to talk to you about this right now is that July 1st, those payout rates are going to be lower because of everything that's going on. So sometimes every few years or even months, the American Council on Gift Annuities will raise the payout rates or lower the payout rates. And because of what's going on now, if you do a charitable gift annuity after July 1st, then that 9.0% you would get if you were 90, you would get 8.6%. instead. And so you would get $860 a year instead of $900 a year for a $10,000 gift. And so that's 8.6% is still pretty good payout rate. So it's not that you shouldn't or couldn't do a charitable gift annuity after July 1st, it's just that the rates are going to go down a little bit. So if you want to take advantage of the higher rates right now, act
You have to
fast.
do it before July 1st.
Yeah, and you have to make sure that the charity that you want to leave the remainder of the gift to is authorized to do it, that they have a charitable gift annuity program.
I see.
Because even if a charity is a nonprofit, a 501c3 nonprofit, they might not have a charitable gift annuity program because maybe they're not big enough or they just haven't set it up yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you do want to have a charity that doesn't have a charitable gift annuity program as the beneficiary, you can still do it. You can set up the charitable gift annuity through a community foundation. Like the California Community Foundation, you can go to them and you can say, hey, I want to do a gift annuity and I want this charity to be the beneficiary. They don't have a program. Can you set this up for me? And they will. They'll set it up for you and they'll take a little fee for doing that. But it's kind of nice because then you're supporting the community foundation and your charity of choice. And so they can help you with that too in case they don't have a program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So some of the limitations that we have about a charitable gift annuity is you can only have one charitable beneficiary
Oh, I see.
per annuity. So if you like 5 or 10 different charities, well, then you can make 5 or 10 different charitable gift annuities. you can do that. There's also all different kinds. There's about a dozen different kinds of charitable gift annuities. And don't worry, I'm not going to make you listen to all of, oh my gosh, no. But there are some that are pretty good, right? So the standard one is you set it up and you're what's called the annuitant, the person that receives the payments.
Yes.
And you receive them right now. And it could be you or it could be you and your spouse. So it could be on one life or 2 lives. And so that is, and you get it right now, and you get your tax deduction immediately, you get your stream of income, and if your tax deduction is too high for you to take this year, that amount that you would get with the gift annuity, because there's a cap on how much you can take for your deduction, you can actually spread it over up to 5 years so that you can take the whole deduction that you set up with this gift annuity.
Does that $900 cover both you and your spouse? So you kind of end up splitting it
That's a good
between the
question.
2 of you.
So when you have your spouse, the gift annuity payout rate is going to be based on both of your ages.
Oh,
And so if you have a spouse that's younger, they're going to it'll drop down your payout rate.
I see.
Because the younger someone is, the less the payout rate is, because the longer they're going to live.
Yeah, so the percentage is less.
But you'll still get a really good percentage. And then on the second of you to pass away, then the remainder will go to charity. So that's how that works. You also can set up a charitable gift annuity, and you don't have to be what's called the annuitant, the person who's receiving the payments. So I have this lovely man that I work with in Northern California, and he needs the tax write-off, but he doesn't need the income.
Mm.
And so he set one up where his sister is the annuitant. She could really use a stream of income. And so it's really nice because he ends up getting the tax deduction that he can carry over up to 5 years if he needs to, and she gets the payments. And so now he's taking care of his sister. And then when she passes away, then the rest comes to the American Heart Association.
Is there a minimum amount that needs to be deposited into this plan?
Yes, yeah. So in order for it to make sense and generate some nice payments for people, the Heart Association has a minimum of $5,000. A lot of other charities have $10,000, so between $5,000 and $10,000 to start to establish the charitable gift annuity, and then you need to be 65 years old.
Okay.
Because if you're younger than that, again, it's not that you can't get payments, it's just the payment amount's going to be pretty low. So 65 and $5,000. And you can establish the charitable gift annuity. You don't need to do it with just cash. So you can actually fund it, it's called funding it, with cash, stock, real estate. It's pretty fantastic, the things that you can use to fund it. And so, for example, if you had stock that you've had for a really long time, and even though the market's been a little crazy lately, if that stock has overall gone up in value quite a lot, if you just sold that stock, you would have all these capital gains taxes to pay.
Right.
But if you took that stock and you use it to fund a charitable gift annuity, you actually don't have to pay those capital gains taxes because you're giving it to charity.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a wonderful thing. Same kind of with real estate, where you maybe bought a house many years ago for $100,000 and now it's worth $1 million. If you sold it right now, you would have capital gains tax to pay in that $900,000 difference. That would be thousands and thousands of dollars. But you could actually take that property and put it into a charitable gift annuity, and you don't have to deal with those capital gains taxes, and you get payments back. And so you can fund it with all these different things. One thing to keep in mind is that this year, because of the CARES Act, have you heard of the CARES Act?
I've sort of heard about it on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was curious about it and what it really meant and maybe how it pertains to what we're talking about.
Yeah, so the CARES Act is the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. It was passed in March, and it's the stimulus package that we've all heard about. What a lot of people don't know is that in that stimulus package there were provisions for giving to charity and to encourage people to give more to charity in this year, 2020. And so there used to be a cap on the deduction, the charitable deduction you could take. It used to be you could take up to 60% charitable deduction for your gifts, 60% of your adjusted gross income, right? So all the money that you make throughout the year minus certain expenses and write-offs is your adjusted gross income. There was a limit for your charitable deduction, 60%. But now this year, because of the CARES Act, your limit for your charitable deduction is 100% of your adjusted gross income. So what that means is, bottom line, if you donate cash to charity this year, whether you write a check or you do a planned gift in cash, you set up a charitable gift annuity with cash, you can take a way bigger deduction. That's the bottom line. And so if you do your charitable gift annuity with cash, you get your payments back, you get a way bigger deduction in 2020 because of the CARES Act, and you get to leave a gift to your favorite charity on top of it. And so that's a wonderful thing too. Another option that you have is you can do a deferred charitable gift annuity. So that means, like, for example, if you're still working, maybe you don't need any income, you're still working, right? Mm-hmm. But you know that you're going to retire in a couple of years. Okay. You could set up your charitable gift annuity to start paying you a couple of years from now.
I see.
So that's really nice. You can even set them up where you can just choose somewhere down the road when it starts paying you, because maybe you had something unexpected happen to you, you got a big medical bill or something, and now you need a stream of income. That's a flexible gift annuity. And so you have, like I said, there's about a dozen different kinds, and you have all these different options for how how to set these up that can help you in kind of whatever situation you have with your taxes, with your stream of income, all kinds of wonderful benefits for you. And you just need to talk to someone like me and your advisor, your CPA or your financial advisor, and you run it by them and make sure that that's a good gift for you to make, a good plan gift.
I had no idea there were so many different types of planned giving possibilities. It's really kind of exciting.
So many. See, now you know what I do.
I feel very knowledgeable.
Oh, good.
So of all the things that you've now told me about, if we could like kind of boil it down a little bit to tell me what is the most common kind of planned gift?
Yeah. So I just told you about every kind of charitable gift annuity. No, just kidding. Just a few kinds of charitable gift annuities. But there are a whole bunch of other kinds of planned gifts. And so the most common kind of planned gift is what's called a bequest.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So a bequest is a gift that someone makes through their will or trust to charity. The bequest can be structured different ways. It can be tailored to you for whatever goals you have for your charitable giving and for your legacy as well. And so you can say a dollar amount, you can say a percentage of your estate, you can do what's called unrestricted, which just means it will go to the charity and they can use it for the area of greatest need that they need it for. You can also designate it for other things. You can designate it for research. You can designate it for education. It kind of depends on the type of charity that you want to give to as to what those options are. But when you put the wording into your will or trust, you say, I give $10,000 to the American Heart Association. I give 10% of my estate to the American Heart Association. I give $10,000 to the American Heart Association to use for research. So you can say, I give $10,000 to the American Heart Association to use in my hometown of Los Angeles. So you can keep the funds local as well if you want to do that.
So you can really pretty much structure it any way you want to do it.
You
as
can,
a bequest.
Yeah, you can really tailor it, and your lawyer will help you tailor that language. So you do need a lawyer. You need a lawyer to do the bequest.
And I have one right here.
Okay, I'll do one for you. So you need a lawyer to do a bequest because that's not a contract between you and the charity like a charitable gift annuity is. The bequest is your own estate planning that you're doing with your lawyer that you're setting up. And so your bequest is in your will or trust, which is part of your larger estate plan, which probably has some powers of attorney in it, a medical power of attorney, a financial power of attorney, those kinds of things. And so as part of your planning with your lawyer, and even if you already have your planning done and maybe you want to make some changes or updates, you can always add a bequest to your favorite charity or charities into your estate plan. Like for example, since I don't have any human children, I have a dog, so I don't have human children, my estate is going to charity. And so I have a lot of bequests in my estate plan. And so they are really wonderful because it is a way to give a bigger gift than you might be able to writing a check. I can't write a check as big as my bequest is actually to the charities that I really like. So you can make a bigger impact and leave a legacy beyond your life, but it doesn't cost you any money right now. So especially right now with all the uncertainty that everyone's going through, what if you need your money for medical expenses? What if you lose your job? What if your family needs help? If you still want to do something for charity, you could do a bequest and it doesn't cost you anything right now. And then the charity will get the gift upon your passing. So that's the one that about 80% of people do. They do a bequest. And then once you do a bequest or other kind of planned gift, you can become a member of your charity's legacy society, which is the Paul Dudley White Legacy Society of the American Heart Association. So if you choose to tell your charity about your wonderful bequest or other kind of planned gift, charitable gifting, what have you, then they may send you a really nifty pin like this.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they'll give it to you, and they'll pin you.
Jewelry.
I know, and you'll be a member, and it'll be lovely. Or You could choose to remain anonymous too. You don't have to. You don't have to let them know that you did it. But for the charities, it's really nice if you do let them know, even if you want to remain anonymous, because then we have a relationship with you and we can say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the most common kind of plan gift.
What I really want to know beyond this is, what is the easiest type of planned gift to make?
Yeah, so even though bequest is the most common type, and even though charitable gift annuity, you don't need a lawyer to do it, the easiest type of plan gift to make is what's called a beneficiary designation. So you already have these types of assets and accounts. A beneficiary designation is anything that you designate a beneficiary on. So your bank accounts, you can designate a beneficiary. A life insurance policy, you designate a beneficiary.
My pension.
Your pension, certain retirement plans, you designate a beneficiary, right? And so when you established that kind of account, you probably filled out a piece of paper that you wrote who you wanted your beneficiary to be. So who do you have your pension through? What company?
It's called LaSera.
LaSera,
Which
okay.
is LA County Retirement Association.
Okay, so then with LaSera, they probably gave you a form that has their logo on it, and you filled it out and you put your beneficiary and you gave it back to them, and that's it, beneficiary designation. So whatever company you have your account with, whether it's Wells Fargo or Fidelity or Vanguard or LaSera, what have you, you just take their form that you could probably download online, a beneficiary designation form, or you can just call them, call their 1-800 number. If you have a financial advisor, get it from them. Fill out that beneficiary designation form, and you can designate your favorite charity to be the beneficiary of whatever kind of account you want.
Okay.
And instead of putting
A person's
name, you put the charity down instead.
Got it.
And then your charity is the beneficiary upon your passing. It's also called pay on death account, POD, or TOD, transfer on death account. All those kinds of accounts have beneficiaries that are designated.
Okay.
And so even if you have, like I said, bank accounts, checking account, savings account, you can designate beneficiaries on those. Some people don't know that you can, it doesn't have to be a charitable beneficiary, you can designate a human being to be beneficiaries of those accounts too, so they pass easily when you die. And so you can do that. Some people have life insurance policies, for example, that they get through their jobs that maybe they don't need them.
Right.
Kind of when you start a job, sometimes they say, oh, here's $25,000 of life insurance, and maybe 30 years later when you're about to retire or something, you realize, wow, I don't even need this anymore. You could actually just fill out a beneficiary designation form and put a charity on there, and they'll be the beneficiary of that life insurance policy.
Oh, okay.
And again, that's something that doesn't cost you a single dime right now, but could you easily write a check for $25,000? I can't. So, maybe you can, but it's like now you got $25,000 that you're giving to charity at some point, which is really amazing.
Yeah.
That's a really lovely impact. So beneficiary designations are the easiest kinds of planned gifts that people can make. So to sort of wrap up a little bit, summarize a little bit, these are only a handful of the types of planned gifts that people can make. So we talked about charitable gift annuities, we talked about bequests, and we talked about beneficiary designations. And then we kind of talked a little tiny bit about stock. We talked a little bit about the CARES Act and how it's good to give cash this year, and especially good to give cash in various forms or use it to fund a planned gift this year. And so all of that's wonderful. There are some other kinds of planned gifts too that we aren't going to touch on really in depth in this video because they're complicated and they work though, and they're very useful. And so you're welcome to call me anytime or email me and ask me questions about these gifts. And some of these gifts are, for example, one of them is called a charitable remainder trust. Now, when we were talking about gifts that provide income, another gift that could provide some income for you is what's called a charitable remainder trust. And there's actually a couple different kinds of those. But it's sort of the same idea as a charitable gift annuity, where you're giving some sort of asset and then you're getting payments back, and you get the tax deduction right away, and you can carry it over 5 years. It's kind of the same sort of thing in that sense, but you do need a lawyer to create the trust, the charitable remainder trust, and it has to then have a tax return filed every year for the estate, for the trust. It's a little more involved, it's a little more complicated, but it gives some flexibility though. Because for example, you don't have to have only one charitable beneficiary. You could have many charitable beneficiaries for your charitable remainder trust. And your payments, depending on how it's structured, they might not be fixed actually. They could be, but they might not be. It depends on what works best for you. And so if the market's doing very, very well, your payments might go up. You might want to take advantage of that. And so I always say, if you're looking at making a planned gift, if you have issues with those capital gains taxes that might happen, or maybe you're a landlord and you don't want to be a landlord anymore and you want to get rid of your property, but you want to still get some payments back because you're going to be missing that rent, you could fund a charitable gift annuity with real estate. You could fund a charitable remainder trust with real estate. You could do that. Once you get your payments from the charitable remainder trust, just like the gift annuity, once you get those payments and then you pass away, the remainder goes to charity.
Oh,
so it's also the same in that sense too, right? It's just that when you're looking at these could be very big, complicated gifts. Gifting real estate is a complicated thing. And so maybe you want to compare. Maybe the charity that you're talking to, like if you talk to me at the American Heart Association, I would do an illustration for you to show you how the numbers work if you did a gift annuity and how the numbers work if you did a charitable remainder trust.
Okay.
So that you could compare and you could see all of your different options. And not every charity even takes real estate because it's a complicated type of gift to take. And so the American Heart Association has its own real estate program, and so we really like to take real estate, and we try and make it as easy as possible for people. But just know that when you're discussing this, get all the illustrations that you can and take those to your advisor, your CPA, your financial advisor, your estate attorney, whoever you trust, and go over these numbers, right? So is kind of a charitable remainder trust that we touched on a little bit now. There's also what's called a donor advised fund that you can make a planned gift through, which is a sort of kind of charitable savings account where you also get a lot of tax benefits when you set that up, but you don't get a stream of income from that. And then there's also what's called an IRA rollover, where you can give money direct from your IRA to charity. So some people have those required minimum distributions that they have to take once they turn 72. This year it's 72 because the CARES Act changed that.
Yes.
From 70 and a half to 72. So instead of collecting that payment and having your income tax maybe go higher because of that required minimum distribution, if you just give it directly to charity, and you don't have to give all of it, you could just give a part of it to charity and keep the other part for yourself, you won't have that extra income tax payment that your required minimum distribution would be. So you can do the IRA rollover for up to $100,000 every year. And for some people that really helps them with those extra income taxes that would cause for them. So that's another one. And then there's of course endowments too. You've heard of those where people kind of set up an endowment or a scholarship of some kind to give to. A lot of those are through favorite universities, alma maters and things like that. That's another type of planned gift. And so you have so many different options. It's pretty amazing, and you just need to get your hands on somebody who knows how to explain all of them to you to make the best decisions possible for you. But really, what is the best decision based on? Your goals. It's based on your particular situation, your goals, the impact you want to make in your community, the philanthropy you want to do, the example you want to set for your kids. Whatever your charitable goals are, your philanthropic goals are that you want to accomplish, and then also the assets that you have available to fund these things. You got to talk to someone who kind of melts all of that together to get you the best results possible, because these gifts, when they're structured right, can really help you with your taxes and help you so much when you're heirs, but then also help your charity. So what's a goal that you would have for your charitable giving, for example?
I think I would want my charity to be able to come up with a cure for whatever whatever they are into, whatever their
Research.
Yes, like the Heart Association. I have AFib, and for me, it's not a serious problem, fortunately. But if there were something that they could find that would actually cure that, or let's say someone working on the common cold, I mean, that would be tremendous to be able to cure the common cold, because everyone gets it, but it would be great not to have to get it anymore.
Yeah.
So that
sounds good to me.
That would be. But as you were talking, it was occurring to me that doing this actually encompasses people who may have a small amount of income or financial ability to people who have a huge amount of financial ability to give to a charity or charities. So it's a wide spectrum of people that it can include, that could do something wonderful for humanity and allow the charities to do something wonderful for humanity as well.
Yeah.
And right now, God knows we need it.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, a lot of people are giving for COVID research. The Heart Association certainly doing our regular heart research, stroke research, and COVID-19 research, and we're not on the common cold yet as far as I know, but I'm sure that there are some other wonderful charities that are. But yeah, doing that, and so you're always welcome to call me, email me, brainstorm with me. One of the things that I can provide for you, and it's all free of charge, it's a service that the Heart Association provides to the community, is I can give you any kind of illustrations that you want to see with any kind of gifts. I can crunch numbers for you, personalized just for your situation. If you need an advisor, maybe you need an estate attorney or a CPA or a financial advisor, I can find referrals for you for those folks in your area. And we can also even help you create a will. If you don't have a will, we have this wonderful site called freewill.com. And free will, if you go to freewill.com/heart, it'll take you to a page where you can just create a will online, and it's totally free. You don't have to put the Heart Association in it. You create it however you want, and then you didn't need a lawyer to do that, so that's kind of good. So we have all of these wonderful resources available for you to accomplish any goals that you might have. So thanks so much for listening. Thanks, Mom.
And now all I need to know is, how do we reach you?
Oh yeah, well we're going to do that right now.
Oh, good.
Okay. People who have been thoughtful enough to give a planned gift to the American Heart Association in their estate plans become part of our Paul Dudley White Legacy Society. And whether you want to do that or not, you just want to talk to me and have some questions, you're welcome to call me, email me. I'm at bonnie.hayden@heart.org or 1-888-227-5242. Call that number and just ask for me, Bonnie Harris Hayden, and they'll transfer you to me. And then if you want to make your will, go to www.freewill.com/heart. And if you want some more information online about planned giving, go to www.heart.org/plannedgiving. Thanks.